All right, welcome to another edition of Sci-Fi Journal presented by the Rhode Island Science Fiction Club. For this episode, we are at TempleCon 2016 at the Crowne Plaza in Warwick, Rhode Island. I'm Marc Morisseau. Also hosting this weekend are
James Hinsey,
Calvin Watts,
Adam Tuchman.
All right, we're going to have lots of fun. This is different because usually TempleCon takes place in February, but this year it's in August. But you guys won't see this till when? October?
October show. This will be the October show.
Yeah, so we'll make sure we get you some spooky Halloween stuff too. All right, so we have lots of things for you to check out this month. Let's take a look.
So hey everybody, this is pretty cool. We're actually here, which is amazing because it's August. So many people. Yeah, exactly. So many people told us that nobody was going to be here, even though it's August. But people are here, so that's pretty cool.
They thought the heat was going to scare them away, because, somehow that's far more scary than blizzards. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know by now, the reason why we moved to the summer was because we got tired of excavating arcade machines from snowbags.
When we started this, it was a convention that was definitely doing things that other cons were doing at the time, and to some extent still are. And that's all good, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to focus in on what makes TempleCon TempleCon. What makes this so unique, what makes people come out to it year after year, what makes people enjoy it is kind of like their central convention to go to. And I think this was the first year, which maybe because of the move we were able to see it a little bit better, maybe it was looking at it, like taking a few steps back and looking at it in a different light. But we, for the first year, really understood what makes this gel, what makes it feel like one cohesive event rather than a whole bunch of different smaller cons going on within the same building. And I think what that came to, when we came to with that, was the sense of immersion. And that's what we want TempleCon to be about, and that's what it really has to be about. We want it to be an immersive experience. We want people to come out here, and as you do different things, whether it be miniatures gaming, whether it be in the arcade, whether it be in panels, whether it be here at the Rotunda during the shows, we want people to be immersed in different environments all weekend. And that's the goal here. That's what we're trying to do.
James here, Sci-Fi Journal at TempleCon. We're here with
Mike Godwin from Emerald 3D.
Mike Godwin, Emerald 3D, right here. And your guys are out of?
Quincy, Massachusetts.
And tell me about what you do here, what your process is for your 3D printing.
So what we have here is a mobilized photo booth that has 189 cameras and 16 projectors that takes photos simultaneously. It takes 178 pictures all at once and then renders them into a 3D image, and that 3D image can then be printed into miniature lifelike figurines.
Wow, that looks really awesome. All the detail and the color in the face.
Printed in full color.
Wow.
Yes.
And the texture, yeah.
It's made of sandstone and resin.
Yeah.
And once we have a 3D image configuration, they do take about 2 to 3 weeks to actually print. Something like this itself takes about 11 hours to print, just one of these figurines. But they can be printed in multiple different sizes, even 2-inch little figurines that can be used for gaming. Dungeons and Dragons, they're perfect for gaming.
Wow. Cool, you can have your own role-playing character in miniature. That's awesome. Or if you're a cosplayer, I've seen people who cosplay who sometimes will try to do something like this, and you get captured like this, right?
Absolutely. We have a couple of different cosplay players over here.
Yeah. All right. So, hey, check it out. How can people find you?
They can find us at emerald-3d.com.
Great. All right. Check it out. On to something else.
We are in the board game room here at TempleCon 2016. This place is really cool because during the convention you can go into this room, you can check out a board game like a library, and then be able to play it with some buddies and go back and take out another one. You could do that all weekend if you want to and miss everything else if you're really into board games. But right now we're going to do our regular Sci-Fi Journal segments, starting with a segment we like to call Game Over with Calvin. Wake up and take it away, Calvin.
it, man. Game over, man. Game over.
You're a jerk, I swear to God.
It's already 10 o'clock in the morning.
All right, so in addition to the TempleCon stuff that we are going to have today, October is a really big month because now you're getting into the Christmas season in regards to home video releases and games. So October is Halloween month, so I'm going to focus on one particular legacy movie that is coming out this month. If you've heard of, we've talked about it before on the show, Shout Factory is an independent company that specializes in making special editions for of movies, for DVDs and Blu-rays. They go back, do like a pass over them, refurbish them, remaster them, have all sorts of extras, and generally their stuff is considered right up there with Criterion in regards to releases and overall value. So this year they've decided to tackle John Carpenter's The Thing, which came out back in 1982 and has since become one of the best horror cult films of like all time. Right. An absolute classic, and Shout Factory has gone all out in redoing this. The picture looks great, the audio is fine, and there are so many extras in here. This is like the definitive version of The Thing. So A, if you've never seen it, you should. B, if you have seen it and you want to own it, this is definitely the version to get. So, in addition to that, I can't begin to tell you how many games are coming out this month. So, but I have to because that's my segment. So, just for the Xbox, like their biggest flagship one is Gears of War 4. It's set like 25 years after the original, and it stars Marcus Phoenix's son. So, it's going to be interesting to see how they continue that storyline. So that's like a big one. And then Call of Duty has really gone to the forefront and gone away from their roots. So their latest issue, or their latest game, is actually set in outer space. But it actually looks kind of cool. So hopefully you have a trailer for you. And if we do, check it out. You'll see what I mean.
You seen this? Unknown. Unidentified settlement ships. You are moving into a restricted situation.
They just opened fire. We're f***ing fire. Data guns are attacking our airship.
This is a full-blown...
Oh my god.
We are getting breaking news out of Switzerland.
Geneva has suffered a massive attack.
Death count continues to rise, and there's no end in sight.
This is Top Cat Sovereign. Divert and deploy all available assets immediately.
Holy shit.
Let's get to the tower! Go! Fix the house!
Biggest surprise attack in the history of the world. How could they not have seen this coming? It's one of our own.
We have no precedent for this. We have no playbook for this. And apparently, we have little time.
Let me make our situation absolutely clear. We are now at war with the Settlement Defense Front. Godspeed, Captains.
You got eyes on this, Reyes?
Affirmative. Let's get in there.
So that looks really cool, but a lot of people are kind of stoked onto that because it also has like a remastered version of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which is like really the game that really took off with the Call of Duty franchise. If futuristic stuff isn't for you, then Battlefield's...
watching this show.
That's true, but no, because it's all about retro gaming here when it comes to video games, but I'll get to that in a minute. But if you don't want to go into the future, you can go back into the past, because EA's latest Battlefield game is Battlefield 1, and it's actually set in World War I, which you won't really see many games set in that era. You've had like a ton of games for World War II, a few in Vietnam, and a ton of modern stuff, but not much set in World War I. So this looks really cool. It has very intriguing. I mean, you got trench warfare, a lot of stuff with tanks. You have some airplane stuff with biplanes and triplanes, and so I'm looking forward to that. So anyways, at TempleCon, they added something this year. In addition to having their regular standard arcade, and they have a beautiful restored Star Wars arcade game sit-down cabinet. Those are really rare nowadays.
Where all of us played, which is pretty cool.
Yep. But they also have a retro console room, and here's a little bit more about that. All right, so we're inside the retro console gaming room at TempleCon. This is a new addition this year, in addition to the arcade that they have, and this is really cool. And what we're sitting in is an actual recreation of an early 1980s living room. So Mark is generously sitting here to help me out. But as you can see, they actually have like an old console TV from like the early 80s, and the decor is kind of something that you would see out of like your old grandmother's room. There's a little transistor radio over here, and there's like, and it's analog, and then you have like a big clock, and then you stuff that, because your console TVs used to be, instead of just having it would be like a shelf that you could display like knickknacks and whatnot. And there's an actual Atari 2600 played up. So we're playing like ARC battle. So this bring you back?
It does. Although a lot of these older games like 82, 83, I was out of college, so I didn't play a lot of those, but I played a lot of the early in television, and we had an Atari 2600, so yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And they have like a long list and a long segment of years covered in this room. There's a couple of stations set up with Atari 2600. There's an actual Vectrex, which is the standalone screen system from the early 80s is here. They also have an Intellivision setup, and they go on. There's a couple of Segas, couple of Nintendos. Yep. There's a Dreamcast. There's a PlayStation 2. There's even, I mean, it's not set up, but they even have a genuine like Odyssey 2 system, which is fairly rare around here. So which is like really cool. So let's go see what's in the arcade. TempleCon brought back the arcade this is like the third year in a row that they've had it. Last year it was in the Rotunda, which was an interesting experiment, but it kind of distracted from, the stuff they had going on in Rotunda, so they're back into like a dedicated room, which I think is best. There are a lot of classics here. You have an original Tron that's been restored. You have a bunch of shooter games. There's Xevious is in here, Galaxian, Galaga. The highlight this year is a sit-down Star Wars arcade game. You don't find sit-down cabinets much anymore, and this one's been painstakingly restored. So I'm going to take a quick look in, and we'll show you some of the games that they have here at TempleCon. All right, so this is the highlight this year at the arcade here at TempleCon. This is Atari Star Wars. Now, you've seen all the gaming and stuff they have today, and Star Wars has been done ad infinitum. But this, back then, in 1982, was the closest you could get to actually being an X-Wing fighter. The game uses vector graphics, and outside of the lasers being like these little starburst type things, it was actually a pretty cool thing. It had digitized call-outs from the movie, and this was all the rage back in the early 80s. Adam is playing right now, and as you can see, he just blew up the Death Star, which is like really cool. So basically, there's 3 parts to the game. You start out in space where you got to fight TIE fighters. A second wave, you actually get to go against Darth Vader. Then you fly over into the Death Star, and then you have like towers that are shooting at you. You're gonna get to that, and then you have your classic trench scene. But this is really, really cool, and you don't see many sit-down cabinets anymore. I mean, arcades are a dying breed, and this is one that has been painstakingly put back together. So let's go check out some of the other games they have here. All right, another highlight game that they have here is titled Darius. It's a shooter from 1986. And you don't see many of these around either because the cabinet is like really, really big. What's cool about this game is that it uses mirror reflective technology, old school technology, yes, but still, the CRT screens are actually in the bottom of the cabinet, and then you have one shooting in from the top. And by using mirrors to reflect off, what you're seeing in the background is a 3-screen game. Very fun, typical of the shooters of this day. So it's really, really cool. All right, here's another classic arcade shooter. It's Namco/Atari Xevious from 1982. This is one of the games that really started your shooter franchise as you know it. A lot of games like Darius that we were just showing, 1942, 1943. I can't begin to tell you just how many shooter games kind of derived from this. So the gameplay is pretty basic. You have one for your guns and one for your bombs, and so you're going to shoot the things coming at you, and then you're going to bomb like the targets. So it looks deceptively easy, but it's not. And Mark is playing right now. He's actually pretty good at this game, which is really cool to see. So when TempleCon started out, they started out with just bringing like a couple of Neo Geo machines in, which was a home system that they also had in the arcade, so you could port out like different games and stuff to it. And they've really expanded. If you are a fan of arcade games, they have a bunch of fighting games. There's Street Fighter that's here, and a couple of other cool games. A lot of 80s Atari games. We have a Crystal Castles, there's a Red Baron, a Centipede, Millipede, Missile Command. It's really, really fun, and it's all set on free play, so it's one of the many fun things that you can do here at TempleCon. So some of the other arcade classics they have here at TempleCon, on one side you have a couple of vector graphics games, which back in the day was really the highlight of what you could get with realism. And you have a game here called Armor Attack, where you're in like a little Jeep and you're fighting up against tanks and a helicopter. And StarCastle, which is a really good classic 1980s Cinematronics machine, where you're a little spaceship and you're trying to break through like shields to like the mothership, and you have asteroids and stuff coming at you. There is Atari's classic Missile Command, which is a really, really hard game to master. It uses a trackball, and unlike like some of the home stuff, you actually have for your 3 missile silo areas, you have one button at each, and it gets really, really frantic. And then there's a classic Red Baron, again from Atari from like the early 80s. So we were talking about World War I earlier, so this is your classic World War I, which Mark is playing right now. And he's trying to fly his ship and go along and kill bad guys. So that is all I have. So now we're going to go to our Toob News segment with Marc Morisseau. Take it away, Mark.
Thank you, Calvin. All right, we're going to talk about some mid-season shows.
Okay.
Since we talked about the new stuff last month, so we're going to talk about some mid-season replacements for early 2017. Okay, NBC has a few of them. The first one up is Powerless, based on the DC Comics. It's where it's a comedy about an insurance agency that takes care of damages done by minor superheroes, and they have lame-o superheroes like the Crimson Fox and stuff like that. So Alan Tudyk is in it from Firefly and Serenity and a bunch of other stuff. Vanessa Hudgens from High School Musical and some other things too. So that's in it. That's for NBC. NBC also has a series coming out in April called Emerald City. It's based on the Land of Oz series by Frank L. Baum. That looks good. Midnight Texas is another NBC mid-season replacement. It's about a town full of vampires and werewolves and witches, and the town itself is supposed to be a safe haven for these creatures. It's written by the same woman who did the True Blood series. What's her name? Charlene Harris? Charlene Harris. Yeah, so she's the one that produces this show. Now you go over to the CW, and the CW's mid-season replacement is Riverdale, based on Archie and the Gang. Archie and Veronica and Betty and Jughead, maybe Hot Dog will show up too. It's a live-action version of that particular comic book. So if you like Archie, you can check out Riverdale. It's coming up on the CW. And then we mentioned that time travel is really, really big this year. Okay, here's one example. Fox has a show called Making History. It's a time travel comedy series about a professor who invents a time machine and goes back and forth, and all sorts of hilarity ensues. So check that out on Fox in mid-season. And then last but not least, we have ABC has a show called Time After Time based on the book and the film series. It's H.G. Wells chasing after Jack the Ripper through time.
The movie was awesome.
Malcolm McDowell was in the
Malcolm
movie.
McDowell, David Warner, Maureen Steenburgen.
Yep.
It was a great movie. Hopefully they can capture that same charm in this series.
Yeah, I recommend that you check out that movie first before the TV series comes out, just to check it out. What do you think?
I think that would be really cool. The movie is excellent, so.
Yeah. So Time After Time, that's a new ABC series. That's all I got for Tube News this month. Let's take it away to the wonderful world of anime. Go, James, go!
Anime Daisuki for this month, October. The live-action Rurouni Kenshin movie has been in theaters here in the U.S. They've had one airing in August, one coming up here in September, and then in October 3 through 5, you'll find the Legend Ends in theaters. So if you can catch it, do so. Filmation is also going to be issuing the Blu-ray DVDs starting in November with the first Origins one. So live action Rurouni Kenshin, check it out. If you love the anime, check out the movie. All right, Alex Hirsch, who created Gravity Falls, and Nicole Perman, who's the scriptwriter for Guardians of the Galaxy. They're both working on writing a live action Pokemon film.
Nice.
So there could be coming a live action Pokemon film. And Bleach, another long-running anime, is going to get a live action in Japan, and look for that in 2018. The Olympics, they had the closing ceremony for the Olympics in Rio, and they had Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe dressed as Mario from the Nintendo video games pop up and say, welcome, we're going to Japan for the 2020 Olympics.
Yeah, but he wasn't sporting a stash like me, though, I'm telling you.
Yeah, no stash, but they had a little video to promote the Tokyo Olympics, and in it, you see him, I have to travel to Rio. Oh, how can I get there in time? And he turns into Mario, and then they drill down through the earth from Japan to Rio, and then he pops up in the stadium at Rio. So, he's cool. He loves anime too, or manga. He reads manga. Studio Trigger animator Takafumi Hori has worked on an episode of Steven Universe. The episode Mindful Education is just airing now as we speak. But Hori has worked on the animes of Kill la Kill and Summer Wars and Samurai Champloo and a bunch of others. So this is a kind of a neat thing where they have a Japanese animator working on an American show like Steven Universe. And not to be left out either, Studio 4C, or 4 degrees C Celsius, animates a fight sequence for The Amazing World of Gumball, another cartoon on Cartoon Network. Gumball. Haven't you ever seen The Amazing World of Gumball? It's really cute. It's one of the cutest, kids.
Isn't it like a rabbit or something? It looks like a rabbit.
I'm not sure if he is. But the episode Mom versus Mom, the fight sequence between one of the characters' moms and this other character's mom. So, but yeah, they got to animate that. And then Nick Johnson, America's first Pokemon Go master, he caught 142 Pokemon in the U.S., and he was able to travel to France, Australia, and Hong Kong with Expedia and Marriott Rewards, and to catch the rest of the Pokemon in those regions. And then he went to Japan, and they had an interview with him there.
It's been pretty incredible, getting to travel all around the world with Expedia to places I'd never been and places I never thought I'd have the chance to return to catch Pokemon. So it's been pretty awesome.
So you mentioned about this community, but how do you find this community? And during this trip, for 1 week, did you really get to make friends, because of this community?
Yeah, so for me, it started before I traveled. When I was on the way on airplanes, I'd reach out to people on communities like Reddit, Facebook, WeChat, Snapchat, and I'd start talking to people there. They'd sort of help me figure out where to go in the cities and where the best places to catch Pokemon was. And I ended up meeting some of these people in person. So yeah, I would definitely say that I've made friends all over the world in the process, and gotten to sort of explore parts of these communities that I never would have thought to do without the help of these people.
And that's it for Anime Daisuki for October. All right, so now we're going to go check out some other interviews here in TempleCon. So enjoy. So, James here. I'm here with Dr. Von Drachen's Curiosities. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
So, tell me about some of these awesome creations that you have here.
Thank you. Well, they're actually all hand sculpted, and it's about a doctor in the 1800s that actually goes around the world and collects all these weird specimens and these weird creatures that are unknown, and then she goes back and she has journal entries and stories, and she just keeps them in her curiosity cabinet.
Wow, so everything here has a little story behind it. It's great. It's all very bizarre looking and very, creatures and things like that, with lots of hooks and things and teeth and eyeballs. This is like really cool stuff. Very, very sort of Cthulhu-ish and stuff like that. So how long have you been doing this?
Dr. Van Dretchen's actually a newer project, so it's approximately about 6 months going, about 6 months to a year. So she's fairly new, and she's exciting. I really, really enjoy her, and she's a lot of fun.
Great. And so how can people find your soccer?
So you can find us on Facebook at Dr. Van Dretchen's Curiosities, or you can actually go to our website, which is www.drvandretchen.com.
Van Dretchen, that's VONDRACHEN. So that's cool. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Great.
All right, we are here at TempleCon with Thad. Hi, Thad.
Hi, how's it going?
Okay, and I'm remiss if I don't introduce you too.
Hi, I'm Melody.
Hi. All right, and we've got a new game here called Clockwork Dominion. It sounds really awesome. Tell us, you're one of the designers, right?
Yes, I'm one of the designers and writers.
Okay, so tell us about this awesome game.
All right, so Clockwork Dominion is a tabletop role-playing game. It's steampunk role-playing in a Victorian world of Gothic horror. We mean all of those themes. They're present in the world. You can kind of pick and choose how much you want to focus on those in the settings. But we're also doing some really cool things. We've got a custom set of mechanics, and rather than dice, we're using a custom deck of 100 cards, and this lets us do a lot of great things. First and foremost, we've completely done away with the round-robin initiative. You don't have to stand there and wait to take your turn.
Okay, so you have the main book itself. Does it come with the cards, or you have to buy them separately? How does it work?
So those are purchased separately. The core book covers absolutely everything that you need to play. So that covers setting, kind of world information. You've got all the full mechanics, character creation, a great chapter filled with advice for narrators, and a bunch of narrator characters that are already ready to run. So that's everything you need for a table. One deck of cards is everything that a table needs to play. Everyone's sharing off the same deck. And those are each available separately.
Okay, and no dice, just the cards.
Completely diceless. One deck of cards is everything everyone needs to play at the table.
And who publishes for you?
So we're actually self-published as Reliquary Game Studios, and we are also available through Alliance for distribution for stores nationally.
Now, if people want to get in touch with your company to get a hold of this game, plug the website or whatever you've got.
Sure. So if you check us out at www.aclockworkworld.com or at www.reliquarygamestudios.com, they'll find us. You can also look for us on Facebook, Twitter, and all of our products are available on DriveThruRPG. We also have a free download of Quick Start Rules that comes with a full adventure, 6 pre-made characters, and an artless deck of the cards you can print and play. So you can play the game tonight if you feel like it.
All right. So Clockwork Dominion, check it out. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, thanks. Appreciate it.
Hi, I'm here with Madeline Michaud of Necronomicon Press, which is a local publisher of Lovecraft and Lovecraft-related literature and other articles. When was this publication founded?
It was founded in 1976 by my father, Marc.
And what got him interested in founding such a publication?
Well, he was 16 at the time, and he was one of those goth kids in high school. And, he was really into dark poetry and literature like H.P. Lovecraft, but it wasn't really widely available other than from Arkham House Publishing. And he decided to look him up in the John Hayes Library, and he found that there was a lot of non-fiction items, selected letters, things like that he thought should be widely available so that maybe Lovecraftians could find each other or something.
So what type of stuff do you basically publish?
We publish mostly fanzines and literary journals pertaining to Lovecraft's work and other weird fiction authors.
Do you publish stuff that may be out of print but are now publicly available due to expiring copyrights?
Occasionally we do a piece of fiction or so that is available in the public domain, but we want it newly illustrated so that it looks fresh.
Do you do any original fiction or artwork?
We used to do much more original fiction, but we mostly do original artwork in our reprinted pieces.
Do you do any, do you publish a monthly magazine or newsletter?
Yes, we absolutely used to, not anymore. We used to publish newsletters such as Necrophile and Lovecraft Studies, many times per year, actually.
Do you have anything coming out in the near future or plans for, let's say, a book or something?
Well, actually, it's supposed to be a secret, but I'll tell you guys. We're coming out with a newly illustrated version of Herbert West Reanimator soon.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about your publication and also your email or web page?
Just that I'm really honored to be here and to be inheriting the Necronomicon Press from my father.
And it would be www.necronomiconpress.com?
It's www.necropress.com.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
James here, Sci-Fi Journal at TempleCon. I'm here with Jonathan, who's been running the Star Wars X-Wing tabletop games. And as you can see here with some of these awesome ship models and stuff, their play pieces that they're using. It looks like a lot of fun to me. So tell me, how long you've been doing this kind of thing?
Well, this is actually the first time that I've ever run an event at a con. I've been playing war games since I was 7 years old. I started 40K, and I got into X-Wing about 2 years ago. And it's a game where you don't actually need to build any models, but I decided I wanted to, and so I started working on some pictures.
That right there is awesome. It's like all handmade, scratch built, and stuff like that. How long has it been you've been working on that?
Well, I started that last July, so a full year. Yeah, full year to get it done. There's a few details that I didn't quite have time to finish, but you can't notice them, and I'll finish that for the next event that I have.
Great. So tell me about the X-Wing tabletop game or the miniature game.
Well, the X-Wing miniature game, it's a dogfighting game where you and your opponent build a squadron of ships from the X-Wing Star Wars universe, and each ship has a certain set of moves that it can perform each turn. You select what move you want to do, and then you hide it. It's on a die, you put it face down, and then when you reveal what each ship is doing, it completes its move. So you're trying to outguess and outthink what your opponent's going to do, compared to other games that I've played, it rewards skill, and it's an enormous amount of fun. Very friendly, good beer and pretzels game too.
Yeah, I have some friends who've discovered the fun of playing it, so I was interested in like finding out more about it. So what do you have running here at TempleCon?
Okay, so here at TempleCon, we've been running a narrative campaign. So each player makes a ace pilot, either for the Empire or for the Rebellion. And you level up your ace pilot, you gain access to more cool upgrades over time. And that's been running for the last 2 days. Today, we're running a little bit of that, but then in the evening, we're going to have a major battle that is going to have the rebels, the Empire's discovered the location of a rebel base, rebel fleets trying to break through the Imperial blockade. And there's another game called Star Wars Armada, where like that Star Destroyer, that model in the Armada is about this big. So it shrinks it. It's the strategic scale game. We're going to have a table of that, and then the X-Wing games are going to be zoomed in from that battle. So it's basically 2 different game systems running at the same time. It should be really cool. And players, anyone that wants to, can just walk in, grab a bunch of ships. Half the people who have been playing the campaign have never played the game before 2 days ago. So.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And, so you're going to be around. What's your next event?
Well, the next event that I've been invited to is EllisCon, which is in Ellis, Connecticut on November 15th. Dave Carter is the guy who organizes it. He actually lent me a fair number of the large ships so I could host this, because I was not crazy enough to buy all of these things. So
still, you've made some. So, that's, all right. So check out the X-Wing miniatures game. It looks like a lot of fun.
Hi, I'm with Justin Stanek, representing the Necronomicon, which is being held in August 2017. And she'll tell us a little about the mission.
Hi, so the Necronomicon Providence is running August 14th through 17th in 2017. And we're really looking forward to it.
We sell them every 2 years, and what are some of the extra details?
Have you seen this? There are walking tours, guided and bus tours. There are also many different lectures, podcasts, all kinds of readings, guest appearances. There's an RKO broadcast that we have last year. Other than the gaming aspect, and we're going to have a lot of podcasts, LARPing,
You know what? It's Japanese. Previous years, like the talk show, and there has been a radio performance and even a play based on Lovecraft's narrative.
Yeah.
All right, I will.
This year we're trying to obtain money for we're trying not to bug the city too much for it, and we're looking for donations. You can go to our website. I believe it's necronomiconprovidence.com. Or you can email us at keeper@necronomicon.providence.com and get more information that way about how to do it.
Thank you very much. And I want people from all over the world that come to the convention. I am meeting people from France and from Mexico.
Oh yeah, we had, I actually was able to meet some people from Argentina, and we had some Spanish Call of Cthulhu games. And I know that there were a few Spanish panels, and it was a lot of fun meeting everybody from all over the world that gathered to celebrate the Lovecraft.
So if you like Lovecraft or horror, there are plenty of different things to do during the convention.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Okay, so we're going to wrap it up for this year's TempleCon 2016. We'll get everyone's impressions about the weekend. Calvin, what did you think?
I always have a lot of fun when it's come to TempleCon. I like the additions, the cosplay stuff. It seemed like it wasn't quite as busy this year. I mean, I know the change in venue, well, not the change in venue, but the change in seasons probably might have something to do with it. But still, we have a lot of fun. I like the diversity, and there's always something fun to do here.
Yeah, there's new things here. There's, familiar things here. There's people I've seen that come back every year, and so it's always a fun time. Plus the entertainment that they have is very unique, and it just par excellence for entertainment here over the weekend.
I'm not really into gaming, but I enjoyed playing the vintage video games and the vintage arcade games that they had out, and so I like doing that, especially since I never really did it as a teenager.
Yeah, if the Rebellion ever needs an X-Wing fighter, that's the guy to go to right there. I liked it because I like TempleCon because it has post-apocalyptic, and there's a big Fallout theme this year that was pretty cool. And they even threw in a lot of Necronomicon and H.P. Lovecraft. Got to interview some of those guys and some awesome card games. So it was a lot of fun. It was good. Like you said, the venue is different. It's in August rather than February, so I think they're a little bit lower in their numbers, but still overall a nice, successful weekend. A lot of fun if you're really into this kind of stuff.
We could take it an old Steve Reeves movie.
One of the classiest men I have never ever known, and one of the greatest human beings in the world, Roy Rossi.
I'm only looking good for one reason, and that's because the work that this cast has put in to do this. I'm standing up here right now. But the work that these people have put in, not me, please cheer for them right now. I'm so proud of all of you. I don't know how many are still in the theater. Some of them are working right now. Some of them have missed most of the con because they're running buses and security and all that. I mean, the sacrifices people made, the months and months and months put into the pre-show, all that stuff. I mean, these people are ambitious. I'm so happy to be associated with them. I really am. Thank you. And a decision has been made. And the answer to that decision is yes.
but you can't stay here. See you on floor 24 at the Omni.
All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Sci-Fi Journal for October 2016. Have a great Halloween and all that other good stuff. And we will see you next month. Thanks for watching.